Motivated, I'm focused.
They're up and pacing.
This is the moment. Gotta one up my opponent.
McWicked on the outside.
Gotta get it, the mindset. Gotta put it in motion.
You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million.
Game time, bet I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, man, they can't keep up. The game's on the line, seconds.
Lean back, get your picture taken.
Crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hannibal.
Motivated, I'm focused.
A late push from Confederate. It's my show. Wins the big show.
This is the moment.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another night of racing at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And it's the eve of the Mohawk Million card, and what is always my favorite card of the year. And this year's, Mohawk Million Edition and Metro Pace Edition, we've got some star power on display, so plenty to look forward to tomorrow night. I know I'm pumped up. I think everybody's pumped up. I think everybody who's got a horse competing in that Mohawk Million has to feel pretty good, because this is the deepest edition that we've had since it's been installed 6 years ago. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, is also pumped up for tomorrow night. You've had a day to kind of recharge, and we just, we got a solid 10-pack here on this Friday night program, but it's hard to kind of think about tonight when I'm thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah. No doubt about it there. Tomorrow's pretty exciting kind of a time. But it'll be here soon enough, and tonight we can kind of concentrate on this, and not much pressure tonight. Just kind of sit back and enjoy what we got tonight. But boy, that is going to be something tomorrow there, and we get to see some of those horses race. It's amazing, because we were talking about it off camera. Even we could talk forever about this card that they've assembled tomorrow.
The star power all throughout, from the opener all the way throughout the finale, obviously, which is highlighted by that mandatory payout tomorrow and the high five. It's
just for one example, I've never seen the Mohawk Million. I've never seen a field of horses like that.
I think we're going to see some difference in opinions as well. I think that every year we've seen one horse kind of be the standout. We saw it in TCI. We saw, I wouldn't say Maryland. I mean, he was 4 to 5, I think, in last year's edition. He was the one to beat, but I think every year we've seen a horse kind of dominate. He proved to be the standout last year, but this year we've got quality from top to bottom, and it's so interesting because we've got Sire Stakes champion from every jurisdiction, basically, right? From PA, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky. We've got an OSS standout here in Strobe who's started to take the reins as the top in the division. We're loaded.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's scary. I've never seen a Mohawk Million like that. If if you don't have any plans tomorrow, trust me, you got to tune into this, because the whole card is amazing. They've done a great job with it and that, but that Mohawk Million, I'm telling you, you could not have there's 10 horses and you can't have a bad pick.
And multiple horses, connections, drivers, trainers, they all believe they have a real big shot, which is what's going to make this race pretty strong. Speaking of, great cards, I think Hoosier Park's got a pretty good card tonight as well, and some busy traveling from guys like Aaron Burke, who it seems like he's won just about everything over the last couple of weeks.
Or how about Gabe Pruitt?
He's done some traveling too. Red Mile, Delaware, Hoosier, obviously. So he's all over the map. But speaking of Burke, he had a pretty big day in Delaware, pretty big 2 days, winning the Jugette as well as the Jug. And I don't think it was any surprise of who got it done yesterday afternoon in the Jug, because Lou Print just continues to show that he's a superstar.
He does, no doubt about that. And, just an opinion. Please don't bombard my phone with I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. But just as an opinion, I really do think that they have to take a real serious look at the drawing your post positions when you win your limb. I know that it's a big thing to win your elimination. Make the eliminations go for more money if you want to put more incentive into it, That way, the final doesn't have to go for way, way more than the eliminations. But the big thing is that you got to have an open draw.
Yeah,
I think you got to have that open draw, because as great as it was to watch that spectacle yesterday, that race was over 3 steps out of the gate, because everybody just went to the back, Lou Print went to the front, and it was over. Before they got halfway around the first turn, it was over. It's way too nice of a race, because when, like you said, the 1 year you went down with It's My Show, there was action. There was different years that I've been there. There was lots of action. This, not much action. You know what I mean? It's hard to get people interested into that unless you're just a horse racing enthusiast. So my thing is I really do think that they've got to give some serious thought to having the final be an open draw.
Well, you figure on a half mile that you're going to get some of the best sophomore pacing quotes in the sport. You figure you're going to get lots of action, but I think the race was over from the draw. The moment the draw came out and Blueprint drew the rail, it was over, and you could see the respect that he garnered. Look, Captain Optimistic took his shot.
Yeah.
To his credit, I thought he was steering a lot better in that effort.
I thought he raced good.
He raced really well,
Yeah.
considering the trip. And, Scott took his shot to no avail because Blueprint is a superstar in the sport. And it's, Burke said that Sweet Lou, maybe the most impactful horse that he's ever trained. But I'd have to say Blueprint. I mean, he said it, that he's probably the best horse that he's ever trained. And I think so far, as he continues to build his resume, it could be hard to argue that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's done a ton. And, he's even had an operation not that long ago. And boom, right back into winning the Little Brown Jug, both heats, So just a great animal.
Yeah, he's got Lexus Cody in the Caesar Stratton Classic tonight. He's going to have Frantic Hanover in the Metro tomorrow. And he's going to have Lua Deepa in the She's a Great Lady. So he's got an opportunity to add. Yeah, he sure is. Sure is.
He's got a deep stable.
He's got an opportunity to continue to add the accolades here. Again, it's felt like he's just won just about everything over the past few weeks. We're going to look at some betting highlights from last night. You could see Duck McNair with a couple of winners. Louis-Philippe Bois guiding a few winners as well. And, 7 winners from between post 5 and post number 10. And we had 13 to 1 shot, major money. Was able to get the job done in race number 9. Cheese Dreams, my top selection, finishing second in that outing. A couple of, favorites really not factoring in. Dime Better yet again, Randy, not really much of a,
Do you have the rail
factor
again?
last night. He had the 3-hole.
3-hole.
Not much of a factor, but I know I selected Mega Moves in race number 4. He would have added to that long shot win total. He just missed out to the stablemate. I think it was odds on or Lions, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but Jonathan Drury guiding the
that
victory.
was Lions. Yeah, it wasn't Gustavo Fring. It was the other one.
Yeah,
I can't
drawing a
think of
blank
it
on the
there,
name.
yeah.
But that's the big number right at the bottom there. The jackpot high five carryover, over $209,000. Last opportunity to play tonight before it gets paid out tomorrow. In what is going to be a really interesting high five, because I think a couple of key contenders, they drew the second tier in that spot. So I think it opens up the race for some action, and I think it's going to make for a pretty good finale.
I wanted to go 11-12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're the class, right? You could argue they're the class, but
not only the class, but maybe not as much Fortify. You can't really say that he's. But Jack Panic, to me, is right back on his game again.
Big time.
He took a little bit of a lull, but he's right back on his game. Unfortunately, he draws that second tier, but I like the 11-12.
I think some horses from the inside. I know Bet the BB's got the 2-hole. You have to figure he's going to be leaving out of there. He's sharp. I know Travis opted to go. Was it Pacino Hanover from the outside, or was it another horse?
No, well, the two outside horses, the 9 and the 10, I think one's Blue Hunt and one's Pacino.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes them out of it in a way.
Changes the complexion
Unless
of the race.
they're going to come flying out of there with them, which I don't really see.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me kind of think that maybe those trailers are... Normally, I find in that mandatory, it seems like always that one of those trailers usually gets involved in it somehow. And you got Jack Panic and you got Fortify trailing tomorrow night. And to me, obviously, Wanna Be a Big Star is going to take a lot of looks. He's got an inside post or whatever. But I'm never going to put Wanna Be a Big Star above either of those two horses, Fortify or Jack Panic. Same level, fine, but not above them.
That's the one I think. I think Pacino's in a different race. I think he's in the opener. But I
is
think
it?
that,
Okay.
I think that's the horse that Travis is going to in that spot. Want to be a big star. And Bet the
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, yeah.
Bet the BB is the other Jody Cullen trainee. Scott
Yeah.
Young picking up a pretty live drive.
Yes,
in that,
yes, yeah,
mandatory
Youngie.
high five.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to tomorrow's card. But before we dig into tonight's action, we also want to look at what took place earlier today. This morning we had some qualifiers, and just highlight some qualifying reports because we got a chance to see some stars back in action here as they get prepped here. And Nijinsky, we got a chance to see his most recent qualifier last week in what was an off-the-pace approach. I thought a really good effort. Gonna get a chance to see him here, Andy, and he was doing the heavy lifting in this effort, but he looked really, really sharp.
He's floating again. He was floating there earlier on in the year when he first came back, and then he kind of stopped with the floating. And then last qualifier, he was floating again, and he's still floating out there again tonight. He looks just like the Nijinsky as a 3-year-old.
Gonna get a chance to see one of our favorite horses here, Chantilly. And, she was back to go in this morning, and James making the drive back from Delaware just in time to sit behind this superstar. And you could see it working out a pocket trip at the head of the lane and watch this filly go, Randy.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, she ever looked good. She always looks good. Oh, wow. Look at the chest on her, eh? She's a monster, this thing. Just an absolute
Yeah,
Stud.
looking sharp yet again, and I'm not sure what her next
Who finished
race
second,
is
George,
going to
remember?
be. Drawing a blank as to who finished second, but a nice effort by that one as well. But good to see Chantilly back and back in action, because we know when she's
We're happy
healthy.
to see her back. I'm not really sure if all the people that are involved in Golds are happy to see her back, because it must have been a bit of a breath of fresh air not having to compete against her.
We saw many horses or many guys trying to take shots, right? I mean, when she's out of the picture, it's a big opportunity for everybody else. But we're going to get a chance to see some other provincial talent here, and we're going to get a chance to see here flowing tribute. This rookie that Paul Reed sends out, I mean, she's looked sensational throughout 5 starts in her career, 4 wins, 1 second-place finish, and just looking like a professional.
Yeah, she's got the Murphy blind there. It looks like it must have come detached. It's right to the side, bopping along. Doesn't bother her one little bit. I got a feeling she could go without that bad boy. She's just good to go out there. Nice to see her back as well.
And we're going to look at another rookie, a Clean Deal. She romped in a qualifying victory last time out, and she's able to win comfortably here yet again. Just tough to find races for these kind of horses outside of the provincial program. So you have to figure she's going to be pointed towards the next Gold and then the Super Final. I believe Rob said she's got nothing else on her card. But this is one that is going to have high aspirations as a 3-year-old as well, because you could argue she's our sharpest filly here provincially.
I would have to say, and boy, does she ever look good there. Just absolutely steals away from the rest of them there with no effort whatsoever.
Just goes to show what even trainers sometimes know, right? I mean, they're getting a chance to break these babies and sit behind them. And when Rob said that she was just average, I mean, she's far from that right now. Ever since she stepped foot on the racetrack, and just a remarkable rookie campaign, and another daughter of Cattle Wash who is doing some pretty good things. Again, we've been lucky with these first crop sires here in Ontario and what they've done, and they've produced some wicked talent.
Yeah, that's the thing, eh? You get used to your sires here, whatever, then they kind of start to retire, and you think to yourself, where are we going to get the next, great super sires? And we got them with Green Manalishi and Cattle Wash right now. And something, the other horse too there, don't just completely discount Bulldog Hanover yet. He had a small crop first year, but what he did put on the track, I like a lot of them, so next year he's going to have, like this season, he's going to have a full buck, and that's going to be really interesting. We're going to have Cattle Wash and Bulldog Hanover.
And that London Classic yearling sale is going to be quite intriguing, especially given what we've seen here locally from some of these youngsters. But we're going to dig into the action here tonight on this Friday night 10-pack, and let's get right into it. Are we going to start from race number 1? Yes, we are. We've got a field of 8 here, and I think the 6 horse we can see right now, Randy, she's opened up at odds of 1-5. This is a mare that I usually try to play against, a mare that you've backed in a couple of her most recent outings because of the addition of Lasix. I think the efforts have been strong with the addition, and I really think she finds a field now where I think she should have every chance to go down the road, open up, just bottom out this group personally.
Yeah, I mean, she's been racing against some pretty nice fillies, right? Dirty Diana, Eternal Delight, she had a couple of seconds in against them, but Always Dawn, Out of This World Dale. She's been racing against some real killers. I got her in for second. I'm not saying that the Lasix has made her a better horse, but what I will say though is that it seems like Trevor's having an easier time driving her since she's gone on to Lasix. There for a while there, boy oh boy,
Too much of a handful.
Too much of a handful. She was just wearing herself out in the 2-hole, and I think that the Lasix has kind of timbered her down a little bit, and so that makes her good that way. But I'm going to go with the 3 horse in here, Little Bit of Soul. She was a winner here last week for Robert Mawson, and I thought it was a good effort by Trevor Henry. Now, Trevor is going to go to YS Flower number 10. Maybe he thinks that she's a better horse. She is a 4-year-old racing against a 3-year-old, or maybe he's just doing it because one of his biggest clients is Shane Barrington. So that could be a part of it too. Either way, I'm not real worried about it, because the big thing is I think that Trevor is going to come out of there with YS Flower number 10. And if Little Bit of Soul and Louie, who's got good gate speed that she's been applying down in Sarnia and Grand River, if she can come out of there and land on his back, who knows? Yeah. Maybe she might be able to come up with a big effort, because YS Flower number 10, she could bottom the field out, but it's not going to be in the last quarter. If you're going to take a chance at her, I say the last quarter is when you attack.
Yeah, I completely agree. She gets a little bit leg weary late in the mile. I just, in this group, I think that she'll be able to open up enough separation to get the job done. This is going to be a nice little fitness test here for a little bit of Soul as well. She's going to have to pick it up here from a speed standpoint here. But again, you want to talk about confident fillies? This one's pretty confident. She's had a nice 2025 campaign.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you look 3 down, John, I know it was Sarnia, but take a look at the horse that she beat that day. JM Ooh La La. She's been racing very good here, and this one beat her. So I say that she's already win here in her last start, you know. So, I mean, I think that she can fit in here.
The betting public doesn't view it as a competitive affair, at least early on. 1-5 is going to be YS Flower number 10 here, and that kicks off the early pick 5. But I think the second race is a pretty competitive affair, Randy. And I think we've got a really nice group of fillies and mares here. And I went 4 deep in this leg because I couldn't really separate a few of them. I'm really intrigued about seeing Margot's Got the Cargo come back to our circuit yet again. I know, she didn't look good in a couple of tries. We never saw her race here for quite some time. I think the efforts at Rideau have been strong. I think this is a live drive that Bobby's going to be picking up, but I think this is a pretty wide open race here in general. I'm curious to know which direction you went.
I went to the outside. You said, did you use lane side in control?
You know what? That's the one I left off my pick 5 ticket. I might regret it.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll regret it for using it. I mean, I find it interesting. Before we talk about my first pick, I find it interesting that Always Dawn has left Beaton's barn and now gone into Kevin Ben's barn. I find that very interesting because, boy, oh boy, I think she's racing great. 12 starts this year, 9 times on the ticket, over $100,000 made. But now she's left the Beaton camp and headed to Kevin Ben. So interesting there. I'm going to throw her in for third. But lane side in control. Let's take a look at the replay on this one in her last there. John, I thought it was a good race for her. Lots of times we see her bottoming the field out. We see her leaving, sitting in the 2-hole. This is a little bit of a different effort. She had the 3-hole leaving. Dougie decides to take her back and not do a whole lot with her. James decides to take her back, not do a whole lot with her. Gets her involved at some point, and now she's going to come up with what I would consider to be a pretty good first over effort. She's not going to get the job done, and she's going to finish second in here in a dead heat, but only by a neck. And I just thought it was a very, very good effort. She made up a lot of ground the whole mile, kind of a different style of racing. I think she's pretty leg weary right here. She is going to, like I said, end up getting picked off, not getting the job done. But I do like the way that she races. And the big thing that I like about her, John, 4 for 9 last year, 3 for 13 this year. This is a girl that knows how to win races. Last 2 seasons, 22 starts, 7 times a winner, well above that 20% that I always look for.
And she gets along with Doug.
And
right?
she does.
I mean,
with
she's
Doug.
put forth good efforts. It doesn't matter who sat behind her, but she does get along well with Doug. And I could see early speed from him here, despite drawing the far outside in a short field. I'm just curious to see what are we going to see from Wicked Pace. She's adding Lasix here in this spot. Look, you could say she had an excuse 2 starts back. She was in a pretty good spot before she put in steps in that gold. Last time out, she left out of there, never quite looked comfortable, didn't look like she had a lot of pace. I think she's better than that. I'm just curious to see what kind of approach we're going to see in this particular spot because this is a wide open group.
Do you remember the race where she makes a break up at Rideau when Jody started to move her into the passing lane?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, well, in that case, I've always said, and I said the same thing about Maryland when he was in the 2-hole and they brought him out and he just jumped it.
Yep.
And then when Jody went to move her into the passing lane, she jumped it. I think that's kind of a situation where a horse is starting to bleed. They taste it and they just call it off. It's a way for them to call it off because I find it really weird that she's never been on the Lasix program. She does that thing at Rideau and then 2 starts later, boom, she's on the Lasix program.
Not on your ticket tonight, so I'm assuming you're going to take a wait-and-see approach tonight. All right, we're going to move on to race number 3 here, and this kicks off the early pick 4. A short field of 6 here, but we've got a couple of mares that I think stand out on class. I should say dropping out of the fillies and mares preferred. But there's one whenever, we talked about Angostura Hanover, Andy. Anytime she's been racing against the fillies and mares preferred in that class, she races so well. She still hasn't gotten the job done yet. She's back down on a drop in class, and for me, it's all systems go.
I agree with you. Let's take a look at the replay of hers. I mean, this is the September 13th, 8 days separating. She had a good 4th in the fillies and mares, 15, back up into the preferred again. So let's take a look at this one. Back half in 53 and 4, John. Last quarter, 26 flat, right from the 9-hole. They just took her right to the back, didn't do a whole lot with her. Kind of an inside trip for this guy. You can see Trevor towards at the back with her right now. He's going to start to move forward with her, but she's not going to be a threat. She's going to get beat 4.5 lengths, but like I said, she's not going to have to face the Grits and Graces and some of the other horses that in the Caviar and Crackers that she has to face. Still moving forward on the end of it. Now this big drop down from Fillies and Mares Preferred that she's been spending so much time, and nice run out too. Now she's going to drop into non-winners at 12,000. Problem is, there's a couple of other nice ones coming down with her. The one horse, she's got it all. Coco Jojo's racing good right now. Few Choice Words, also a horse that's always dangerous. One Last Wish, back at it, good again. And boy, oh boy, look at the form that Marie Dupont has found for Miss Quicksand.
Yeah, she put forth a good effort in that Preferred as well. She's one that I think I went a little bit light on. I probably should have used her on my ticket, but I'm with you, Angostura Hanover. I think we're going to see an aggressive approach here in this spot, but we've seen Trevor can do just about anything he wants with her at this type of level. She comes first over, she's game, he leaves with her, she's fine, and if he wants to come from off the pace, I think that works out well. But I think in this particular spot, I think Trevor's going to be wanting to march out of there tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just been racing sensationally good this year. 32 starts already this year, John. Wow, just a money-making girl, that Angostura.
All right, that kicks off the early pick 4, and we're going to move on to race number 4. That kicks off the pick 6. Now, remember, though, for tomorrow, the pick 6 sequence does start, I believe, in race number 5. The wagering menu is a little bit
I heard
jumbled
you last night. You were telling
tomorrow
Chad.
night, so just keep your eye out on that, because we've got some great pools, some nice, really strong guarantees, and you don't want to miss out on those opportunities. But this kicks off the pick 6 here tonight, and we've got a field of 8, and again, another race where I think you could go a few different directions. I think the outside 2 are going to merit respect. Charmbro Stormy, coming off a picture-perfect trip last time out in a winning effort. Madrid, I think, has the capability to bounce back. You really liked Chiefs Dream Girl last time out. Is that the direction you're going to go here yet again?
No, I'm throwing her in for second. Love the way that she raced. She was big on end in that last one there. I'm going to go setting a precedent. We can show the replay on her. She's September the 12th was the replay. Probably 16-day, 15-day rotation on this one. So I thought it was a good effort. She's not going to do anything that's going to make anybody jump out of their chair or anything, but it's just an effort that she shows that she stays with them, only gets beat a couple of lengths, had some time off, a couple of weeks before this race, and now she's coming in with a much better rotation. The thing with setting a precedent, John, she's always a dangerous horse. When she comes up with a big effort, it's a big effort, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe Louis doesn't come out of there with this girl. I'd like to see somebody just kind of like race her off the pace for a change. He's got a great opportunity in here tonight with the rail, and maybe let Madrid and Charmbro Stormy kind of duke it out a little bit. If he can drop Todd down in front of him with Chief's Dream Girl, who would be a better horse to follow in this race than Chief's Dream Girl?
You and I flip-flopping top selections from last week. You liked Chief's Dream Girl last week. I like setting a precedent. I mentioned it last week, setting a precedent when she's got Louis aboard. After last week, now 7 wins and 17 drives together. So I think that's a pretty good statistic here, and I think if she's on her game, she's going to be a major factor. And she's tough to fend off late in the mile when she's on her game.
She is, yeah. I've seen her sit last before and come up with a big last quarter. It's just we haven't seen too much of her being raced from off. She's always leaving. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe tonight's the night that they try her second or third over.
All right, we're going to move on to race number 6 here. That kicks off the late pick 5, and we've got a field of 9 here in this spot, and got some horses that I think are coming off some sharp efforts. I think this is a pretty wide open pop-up series here that we're kicking off the late pick 5 sequence with. The morning line favorite, Stonebridge Helios, I thought last time out might have just been a little bit too tough with the likes of Captain Fear not dropping a few classes in that spot. But how about 2 starts back, Randy? I thought this guy put forth a pretty strong effort in what was his first start for new trainer Paul Court.
You for sure? Let's take a look at the replay and see if you're pulling Randy's leg.
I love it.
Okay, so let's take a look at the replay on Stonebridge Helios. He's also going to be my top pick in here. I thought that was one. This start here after the qualifier, this is going to be Paul Court's first pari-mutuel start with this guy, and boy, oh boy, it was a good one. You can see James at the back of the pack with this guy, and this is the Stonebridge Helios that we're used to seeing. You know what I mean? With a big turn of foot and able to carry it for a while, Matt, you know what I mean? So maybe Paul Court, maybe this horse is going to fit really, really well into Paul Court's operation, but here he come right now with James, and he is really, really throwing down. He's going to pick up James again in here tonight. I thought the last effort that he did was good too, but this one a little bit more flashier on this one. So Stonebridge Helios, the way that I'm going to go. I think that this is his race to lose.
And I think now that James got an opportunity to sit behind him in that first try, 2 starts back, and back in this class, you have to figure he's going to have even more confidence in him going into tonight's effort, I'd say.
Yeah. You know, it's almost like to the point now where before we could see him do just about anything, Helios, but it seems to me like his best races now are 1 runs.
Yep.
You know, you got 1 shot, take your shot, you know?
Yeah, risky proposition going with the horse that hasn't won a race in a couple of years. But again, I think that those efforts, I think those are some positive tries here in the new barn. And I think this is a much better spot for him to work out a pretty strong effort. I think Reign Supreme, though, I think he merits some respect here. He's got a good draw to work with. This guy can be sneaky good sometimes. I mean, when he draws well here on the big track, we see some down-the-road approaches. There's a chance he could work out a pretty good trip, or maybe doing the chopping in this spot.
I agree with you, and I so badly wanted to, somehow or another move him in there. But the only thing that scared me, John, was August the 18th at Grand River, September the 15th at Grand River. Missed a month between those two. I just don't know if he's going to be cracking good tonight or not. Little wait and see approach.
All right, there's a look at race number 6, which kicks off the late pick 5. We're going to move on to race number 9. We're scratched down to a field of 9 here, and we've got another grassroots or prospect starters class here. Anytime we see this group hook up, you could go many different directions. I think Nickel and Dime right now he's the now horse, isn't he? In the grassroots division, anytime he's taken on this group, he's gotten the job done. He won't be in to go here this evening, but I went back to Flanagan Sunshine here tonight. I really liked his effort last time out. I was intrigued by him adding Lasix, and I really thought that he had enough. He had a bit more on the end of it in that spot as well, and a sweep of 3s. I find that to be a shocking in what is a pretty wide open race.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about him, right?
Yep.
He is racing good, and this is going to be second start on Lasix for this guy. So let's take a look at Flanagan Sunshine. Let's take a look at his very last line, September the 11th. First start Lasix. Had the 6-hole left out of there big, 27 flat to get control, and he was still hanging around at the end of it. And like John said, right now, I just don't know where you're going to be able to beat Nickel and Dime in this bunch. He is really, really looking good out there right now. He's a big, strong horse, that should only, probably keep getting better. So look at Phil. He's looking for room. The hood on shoulders are back. He's going to slide up in through here. Wow, that is a quite nifty little move there, Phyllis. And then he's not going to get the momentum. Travis has the momentum on him, and he keeps moving forward. But this is going to really should power this guy up big. Second start, Lasix never being used the first start. I think that he's going to be real good in here. Now, we're not going to have to look at Nickel and Dime tonight in this race, like you said. But so, and there's a few in here that I really like. Pierre and Paris wearing the green. But Wendell Blue Chip, I think, has made leaps and bounds since he's gone into Benoit's barn. So I'm going to throw him in for the deuce.
Wendell Blue Chip was your horse to watch in his most recent try. He showed an improved effort last time out. I think Flanagan Sunshine would have got the job done if he worked out a cleaner trip last time. I know Nickel and Dime was sharp.
He had the momentum.
He was
Nickel
my
and
value
Dime.
play in that spot. And Mr. Pasadena, he had to work a little bit hard to clear to the lead. And I just don't think that's Mr. Pasadena's type of trip in that spot. And he tired. And, of course, Phil just had nowhere to go, unfortunately. And, look, Nickel and Dime had all the momentum on the outside off a pretty good trip. And to your point, what we saw there in that replay, Flanagan Sunshine had to maneuver in between some traffic. So I like him in this spot here. I think he should be able to work out a pretty good trip. But I think some other ones garner some interest as well. Pierre and Paris, if he can stay trotting, I think he's got an opportunity to win. Wearing the green, he might have just needed that start last time out. He had a bit of trot at the end of his mile. I think we're going to see a different approach here with a better draw and his second start back on regular rotation, I'd say.
Yeah. Did you use Alimony Mike? Now, if Alimony Mike had drew a little bit better, I mean, I could have just as easily put him up on top in this race. I really do think that the Lasix is going to improve him as well. I like the way that he's racing. I mean, he's not on Lasix, and then he comes on Lasix, John, in his last 2 starts. And where did the 27-4 all of a sudden come out of? Everything else before that's 33, 29. He has 128-1. You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden, 2 weeks in a row, 27-4 and big movement on the end of it. If he draws a better post position, I probably give him a much better rating. But what I would say, though, is that Alimony Mike, keep watching, because he's going to be back in a stake here soon, and if he draws good, I think this is a horse that's really, really going to turn a corner, I guess is the way I'm looking.
Yeah, I loved him last week, and he worked out a pretty good trip. He was third best in that effort. Rising Interest, he went off as the heavy favorite in all the multis because that was the last race of the night. Was second in that effort. He's one I think that is intriguing in this spot. Again, for me, I found it interesting that he was the heavy chalk in all those sweeps. So I'm curious to monitor. Let's see how the betting revolves around him tonight. But we're going to move on to race number 10 here, and this is going to close out this Friday night program. And we've got a field of 9 here in this spot. We spoke about one Paul Court trainee that raced really well in his debut for him a couple starts ago. We're going to look at one that he's had in his barn for a little while, and that's My Ultimate Snowy. And I really like the way that this guy's raced over his last couple of tries. I think he's just been up against it from a class perspective as well as a post perspective. The post doesn't benefit him tonight, Randy, but I think this is a group he should really enjoy tonight.
A huge difference in class.
Big time. Yep.
And ability. Last week, for instance, he has to face Wannabe a Big Star, Head Honcho, and Jack Panic.
From post 9.
Just those 3 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Any one of those 3 in here, you're probably looking at the favorite for the race. So My Ultimate Snowy is the way that I'm going to go. And let's take a look at the replay for My Ultimate Snowy. September the 13th, like I said, had the 9-hole. And this is a good effort, but we've seen even flashier efforts from this guy on the end of it. So James McDonald coming right back with this guy, only going to get beat 2 and 3/4 lengths in this race. Just does nothing but make up ground the whole way. Going to come a last quarter in 26-3. 0 for 13 so far this year. Qualifying mark last year, qualifying mark so far this year. I say by the end of tonight, John, he's got to mark all of his own. And I'm going to say that he's going to win 51-4.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with him. So big movement on the end of it there for James. Not going to be anything that's going to be a big threat in there, but dropping into this pop-up series. And I think that this is a absolutely completely different bunch than what he had to face in his last. And even the one before that, when he finished second, he's in against Blue Hunt. One before that, Pacino Hanover. There's always somebody in there that is really, really tough on this horse. And there's some nice horses in here tonight, but nothing like what he's had to face.
You and I hoping that Paul Court can have a big night with a couple of winners here tonight. And Paul Court, just a great guy as well. You can stop him in the paddock, ask him a few questions about, his horses there, and he's always willing to talk, always willing to answer, and, just give his opinion, but just a great, great guy. And, wishing him the best here tonight because we both have him, picked on top here tonight. And I think he's got to feel pretty good about his starters here this evening.
Yeah, I would have to think so. And, what else did you, like, where did you go in for second?
I might have gone Artie's Ideal in for second. Good draw to work with. We've seen some good efforts from him in the past. I think he could probably work out a pretty good trip.
I threw him in for third. I was using him religiously, but I'm going to tell you, that start where Billy Davis wins with him and he's 83-1, if you were going to drive him, that to me is the way to do it. More or less the way that he got drove last start in Grand River. Just kind of save that move because, boy, when Billy got him out, he just absolutely sailed by these horses.
I'm all in on My Ultimate Snowy. I'm hoping he can get the job done in the finale here and my late pick 5 ticket, if I get there. I'm hoping for at least. That concludes what we discussed about tonight's efforts, I'd say, about some of those replays and our thoughts during this or throughout this 10-pack, but we're going to get into some ticket ideas here. Speaking of pick 5 tickets, let's get a chance to look at your early pick 5 ticket, Randy, and you're going to hit the all button in race number 3. So you're going to go all in in that mare's race. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go through your ticket.
Short field. I like Angostura too, but I'm not looking. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody knocked her off. So I'm going to try to get some value in here. Play against whatever's going to be the favorite. So race number 1 is going to be Little Bit of Soul, YS Flower. Then I'm singling lane side in control. Got to get through that. All in race 3, and then race 4, it's going to be Setting a Precedent, Chief's Dream Girl, and Charmbro Stormy, and then back to single, and that's going to be Kier Sealster.
You're taking a nice approach in race number 2, a race that I found to be tough. I'm not even using lane side in control, which I could regret, but you're going to be going all in on her, which I think is a good stand in a wide open race. I'm going all in on YS Flower number 10 here. I've got 3 singles. I'm going to single her, Angostura Hanover, and Kira Sealster. Race 4, I find to be tricky. I went 4, 7, 8. I think I feel pretty good about a couple of horses that are going to be speed threats. And I think if I want to have a horse coming off the pace, why not Chief's Dream Girl, who I think could very well work out a pretty favorable trip. So a $12 cost here with 3 singles, and I feel pretty good about my singles. It's some of those other legs that I think I could go busto in. All right, there's our thoughts on some pick 5 ideas. And we talked about tomorrow. We're going to look at tomorrow night's fields yet again and kind of preview what we're going to be looking at and what we're going to be getting a chance to talk about and watch, because it's a loaded slate, not only from a wagering standpoint, but from a talent standpoint. Again, it could be a formful card. Mm-hmm. It looks like there's a couple horses, or 1 or 2 horses in each division that really stand out, Randy. But I tell you what, I think we're going to have some great head-to-heads. Our Dutch is going to be installed as the 7-5 morning line favorite here in this Grade 1 Elegant Image. I might try and take a swing against her in this spot, though. I think I'm going to, but I'll tell you what, she's going to be awfully tough.
She's going to be tough, Locked In Journey in her last, I could see maybe Global Heritage coming up with a big effort in there, but, not to let the cat out of the bag, Our Duchess is the way that I went.
I think she'll be sharp after last week's try, not being able to see clear daylight last time out, her win 2 back. Even 3 back. I mean, she's just been razor sharp, and as the season progresses, she could continue. She could end up being the top 3 trotting filly in the division. So that's a great field that we've got tomorrow in the Elegant Image there. And I believe that kicks off the All Stakes pick 5 as well. So race number 7, we're going to get a chance to look at some rookie pacing fillies here. Morning line favorite's going to be the 6-5 at 6-5 Lua Deepa, another Burke homebred, and this filly's got some gears, doesn't she?
She's very deepa,
yeah,
no doubt about that. And I just don't see any. Perfect Thought plugs in. Race good. Sangria Summer. Come on, man. Are you serious?
10 hole.
I threw her in for 3rd or 4th. If she didn't draw the 10 hole there, I'll guarantee I don't go against Lua Deepa.
Yeah.
I put her in for 2nd, or something like that, because I thought she raced incredibly well. It's just unfortunate that she's got to go out and draw the 10 hole. But in my own honest opinion, Lua Deepa just stood out.
Look, 2 fillies who raced really well in their eliminations. Drew the outside.
9
Perfect
and 10.
Thought in Sangria Summer. Sometimes the post gods aren't as friendly, but
No.
I tell you what, Ronnie Wren, his lone drive on Saturday night. I believe in the last time he only had 1 drive on a Saturday night program here. He got the job done in the North America Cup. So this is a guy who could just come in cold and come in sharp. And he's spoken about it yesterday too. It's easy when he's got confidence, I should say, when he gets to drive high quality horses. And I think he's going to have lots of confidence in his filly in this spot. We're going to move on to race number 8 here, and we're going to get a chance to look at some more stakes action here. We're going to look at the Metro Pace here for the rookie pacing colts. And we've got a field of 10, but all eyes are going to be on the 2 horses who won their eliminations, Frantic Hanover and Bojangles. We could have a battle of the Goliaths here, Randy.
Do you think there's a chance that both of them get beat? One of them's going to get beat.
You never know, right? If they both hook up, but I think both of these guys have some gears. Doc spoke about it. He was really happy that he got a chance to see him go a little bit quicker last time out, because he just wanted to see for sure that he's got a little bit more speed in his back pocket. So I thought he showed exactly that in his elimination, Randy, and you have to figure that he's going to be even sharper tomorrow night. I think Till the Cows Come Home could potentially, and Al Papi, those 2 horses starting to Bojangles inside. I think he's got a post edge over Frantic Hanover. But you've got 2 horses that I think might put a bit of a wrench into a Doc Moore's colt early on, I'd say.
Yeah, they're going to be real tough to beat. But I'm of that whole list, and last week I tried to use Redland Rocketman to take down Bojangles. But of all the ones that that raced last week, the one that kind of really impressed me is that 1 horse.
100% agree.
Yeah,
I've got him. This is a horse I think added
I got him in
Lasix
for 3rd.
So do I. I added Lasix a couple of starts ago.
He was good.
You watch the way he's moving at the end of it at Chester.
Yeah.
And here on the big track.
Yeah.
This is a sharp colt.
Yeah.
And you want to know something?
And if they get at each other,
you got to give him some respect, I'd say. Yeah. So I think that's a really, again, I know some of these other colts are overshadowed because of the 2 superstars that we've seen early on, both of them coming in with perfect records. But I really like the way Super Champ Hanover's raced. And Al Papi, he's had another very strong rookie campaign, the same way about many other colts here in this group. I'm really looking forward to this race. I know Chad says it's always his favorite race of the year. We're going to move on to race number 9. We're going to get a chance to look at some more stakes action. We're going to get a chance to look at the Canadian Trotting Classic. We're going to get to see another head-to-head matchup between a Motorcon Legacy and Maryland. I don't think anybody was beating Emoticon Legacy last time out. So when these two hooked up, but Marilyn was going to be second best in that outing before jumping it off.
Yeah. The Emoticon Legacy, I'm pretty sure is the way that that I'm going to go in here. I'd love to know who named the 3-horse, because one of my best friends was a guy named Jack Beliveau. Happy Jack B. Love to know who named that, if somehow or another a breeding farm or something didn't know, because he was a pretty happy guy himself.
I heard he was pretty good at cards.
Oh, yeah, he was pretty good.
Fadeaway Hanover, a colt who's pretty sharp as well. James McDonald opting to go his direction over landing on time. Just a tough draw for Ricky's colt.
It is really tough. But another one, just briefly, that I looked at the program briefly on this one. I'm pretty sure I went with the 6-horse, but this 7-horse going into Burke's barn, Southwind Caspian. This horse has been racing pretty good for Matt Bax. Now he's going to go into the Burke barn. You know what I mean? Can pick up Yannick Gingras. Some interesting things could happen there as well.
Not the first time they've done shopping off Matt Bax and company. Obviously picking up Sultan Coors, who I think has been a stellar purchase for them. He was second at Scioto in what was a pretty big effort, big mile, and he's raced super over his last several starts. So he's going to be making his debut for the new connections. And now we're going to move on to race number 10. This closes out this all-stakes pick 5, and this is the headliner.
This is the best race that I've seen in a long time.
Big time. I mean, look at the talent that we've got. Apex is a colt who, out of Mission Brief. I mean, she's produced some talented horses that haven't really been able to maybe put it together consistently.
Except for this guy.
This guy from a young age, by Wallner. He just looks like a professional, and he's certainly raced as such. Ardon, a William Wellwood Memorial winner, coming off a qualifying effort to get himself geared up for this event. Endurance is one that I'm really excited to get a chance to see here locally.
Chris Beaver back in town.
I mean, it was $14,000 US, that yearling purchase.
Doesn't surprise me.
Son of Captain Corey, and this guy has really turned some heads. Captain Corey's have been strong. They could be looking at a potential superstar here.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me with Beaver. I think that he could get a cow to trot. Really, really sharp trotting trainer. Tell me a little bit about the 9-horse, John, because I seen him a couple of times win at the Meadowlands there, and it looked to me like he had a rocket tied to the back of him. And one of the times he went around Ardon like Ardon wasn't even there. But now it just seems like his last 2 or 3 starts, he just kind of fell apart. Do you know much about Diabolic Hill?
He can sprint with the best of them. I tell you one thing, he's got a wicked turn of foot. If he works out a trip at the head of the lane, this guy can fly. Last time out, though, he worked out what seemed like a pretty good lead and just got a little bit fumbly. I think Apex was going to go by him anyways, but he did jump it off in that spot. So I believe Annie Stobie did say that she's going to tinker with the shoeing coming into tomorrow night's effort, because a different track surface, so she wants to have this guy sharp. Look, Todd McCarthy's familiar with this trotter because he got a chance to qualify him in his first baby race. So Andy opting to go to endurance, but Diabolic Hill, there's so much talent there. The post is tough, but the talent and the speed, when he puts it together, he's game.
What does James do with Strobe Light?
Gonna have to go out of there, right? You'd have
what
to
else
think.
choice do you do? You know what I mean?
In that spot off a big mile, who you're driving for as well. Ben Wanston put in play as well.
That's the thing that gets me with this race is there's no weaknesses.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like every one of them can pretty well leave. Every one of them can pretty well finish. They're all a nice group. All come out of viciously great barns. This is such a race.
And all Sire Stakes winners. Again, a bunch of them being Sire Stakes winners in their respective jurisdictions. I tell you what, Silverstein, I think, is one that's a sleeper. He's been chasing endurance around in some of those tries in Kentucky. He's gotten close. Just one win this year, but this is a colt who's put forth strong efforts all season long. So he's going to be overlooked. I think he's one that you should be looking to play underneath especially.
Yeah, no, he looks good too. And another one that I kind of like too is the 7-horse. How can you ever discount Oka?
Yep. Big effort there in the PA Sire Stakes final as well. So it wouldn't be a Mohawk Million as well without potentially an Oka sponsored training as well, or a big trotting event, I should say, without an Oka sponsored training. We spoke about the wagering menu. Here's a look at this loaded wagering menu. Wow. And again, please keep note of the sequences and when they begin. All Stakes Pick 5 starts in race number 6. We've got a late Pick 5 in race number 9. Early Pick 5 will kick off in race number 1. And how about the overnights that we have in that sequence? Open trot, fillies and mare, an open pace for mares. We've got Sylvia Hanover back in action, and our pick 6. It's a mandatory payout as well.
I love that. So pick 6 mandatory.
No carryover opportunities there tomorrow night. It's going to get paid out.
5 wins could get it.
When we did it when the wagering team installed that on NA Cup night, it was a really, really strong showing. So I really love that they're doing this yet again. I'll tell you one thing. I'm almost rooting for a carryover on tonight's card. That way it can go into tomorrow's mandatory.
Can you imagine?
Then it would be even stronger. So lots to look forward to tomorrow, 6:35 post time. I believe you and I will be on camera from 5:30 because we've got lots and lots to talk about. So we're getting set here for race number 1. We talked too much. No plays of the night for us, Randy, but we'll guide you through the night on what we like.